Dr. Jones's office made her feel claustrophobic. It was 12 feet long and 7 feet wide, with only one small window. Joan Pierre was used to spacious rooms with large panoramic windows. Even the copy room in her office was larger than this room. As always, she glanced at the small cabinet above the sink and wondered what the good doctor kept in there. She looked at the framed picture of Dr. Jones's family, set on the counter next to the sink. Once his college sweetheart, now Dr. Jones's wife, was a homemaker now. The children, one boy and one girl, were smiling and holding on to their mother affectionately. They seemed to say to the whole world that no force in the universe could separate them. Anne Jones, the mother, had the biggest smile. It was as if she was telling Joan, "I'm the happiest mother and I'm the luckiest wife on earth." Joan had never met Dr. Jones's wife, but every time she looked at the picture, she felt like she knew her, and they were holding a silent dialogue, heart to heart and comprehensive. Dr. Jones's wife was basking in the joy of perfecting the art of motherhood and being the ultimate maternal caregiver. And Joan was so proud of running colossal business empires and improving so many lives. Neither woman was willing to give up what she had accomplished so thoroughly, arduously, and at some sacrifice. Yet there was a harmless jealousy between them. "You have a lovely family. You must be very proud of them," with a genuine smile, Joan had told Dr. Jones on her second visit. "I am very proud of them," Dr. Jones replied. "Do you think I should leave the picture right there, or should I hang it on the wall?" "I like it there. You should leave it where it is." That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship between David Jones and Joan Pierre, and ever since, every time she had visited him, she looked at the picture and smiled. It was a smile of approval, and far more. Dr. Jones always reciprocated her smile with one of his own. But today, she did not see the welcoming look she was used to. This time, she saw an ominous expression she had never seen on Dr. Jones's face. Until her big promotion several years ago, she used to see Dr. Jones in his office every 2 months. That was his idea, and he had insisted on it to make sure she was in good health. During the medical examination, he always asked her advice on his financial portfolio, and they exchanged in some small talk. The doctor took her vital signs, and as far as she knew, the nurse took the vital signs of every other patient. Prior to her previous visit, just a week before, she had not seen Dr. Jones for over a year, and it was Dr. Jones himself who had called her personal assistant and her secretary, relentlessly pursuing her. "I won't stop calling until you let me talk to Madam President. She's not just a patient, she's a dear friend, and I'm going to make sure she's in good health. I've got to see her." Dr. Jones had finally seen Joan. After complaining to her about not visiting him regularly for medical examinations, he had taken her vital signs, as well as some blood samples. As she left his office, she had said with a warm smile, "I guess I'll see you in 2 months. And don't forget to tell me about your financial portfolio. I want to hear all about it." She could not understand the urgency of her return visit today, but she could not say no to Dr. Jones. And now, Dr. Jones's silence was more dreadful than his countenance. In the past, he had always initiated their conversation, but this time, Dr. Jones silently took her vital signs, while exchanging quick glances with a younger man who seemed much too young to have finished medical school. The young man was also wearing a white coat. He must be a resident, a protege of Dr. Jones, she thought. She wanted to know why Dr. Jones wasn't telling her about his latest investment. "How come you're not talking about your children?" she wanted to ask him. But the presence of the young man had changed the situation. She could not talk with Dr. Jones as comfortably as she would with him alone. "So, what's up, Doc?" she asked, finally breaking the suffocating silence. "I thought I wasn't supposed to see you for another 2 months," she added with a perfunctory smile. "I was hoping that would be the case as well," Dr. Jones replied. He did not make any eye contact with her, intentionally. "You have no idea. My dear Madam President, I would like you to meet Dr. Jameson. Don't let his age fool you. He's the best there is. He's absolutely the best in his field. He'll tell you what's going on. I want you to listen very carefully. We must devise a plan today." Standing suddenly, she turned toward the young doctor. "What's going on, Dr. Jameson? I have a very important meeting today. People's livelihoods depend on what we will accomplish today. Why are you keeping me away from the board? I'm pretty healthy as it is. I don't need to live 100 years. Dr. Jameson came forward. "Madam, please sit down," he said. "I will come to the point immediately. I'm an oncologist. As my dear colleague had pointed out, I am very good at what I do. An oncologist? An oncologist. Are you telling me I have cancer?" "I am afraid so, madam." "When? How? I'm as healthy as a horse. This can't be. There are jobs, entire lives pending. I cannot afford this to be happening. This can't be." Joan broke off her own sentence and rushed out of the office. Soon she was in the waiting room, running toward her personal assistant, with the 2 doctors chasing after her, trying to stop and reason with her. "We have to sit down and talk about this," Dr. Jones called urgently. "Madam, please. I need to explain the gravity of the situation to you. This matter is vital. I would gladly talk with you in my office if that would be more convenient for you. Today, after your board meeting," Dr. Jameson pleaded. She turned around and looked at the doctors intensely. Just by looking at her, the 2 doctors froze, like statues. They became silent. They could not tell if it was anger, despair, or fear controlling her actions. But they had no doubt she was scared. Her right arm stretched. She had her hand opened and raised it above her shoulder. "Please," she shouted, "just stop talking. I have to get out of here right now." Her personal assistant looked at her with a puzzled face. This was the same man who could not sit down a minute ago and was strutting around as though he was about to argue a case before the Supreme Court. Now he looked more scared than Joan did. "John, let's go. We're leaving," she commanded, and her personal assistant obediently walked behind her. Thank you for listening to The Color of Jason's Soul. Please stay tuned for Chapter 4.